Hello. So I'm going to show you how to make a very basic website. Just yeah, the very basics. I'll go through. You can watch what I'm doing. I'll explain what different things are, what they do, and I'll keep showing you the website side by side. And at the end of each part, I'll put like a little review for you to uh, look back at for help, or you can pause it or something. Anyway, so first things first. To code a website, you want to get some sort of text editor. Now, everyone has Notepad. It's okay, you can use it, but it's not very clean when coding. It's a bit messy, so it's hard to understand your code or lay it out properly. What I use is a program called Visual Studio Code. It's a Microsoft program. I think it's very good. I haven't updated it, I can't be bothered. But anyway, as you can see, there it is. But before you save it, once you've saved it to like a HTML file, certain things will highlight, like HTML tags that you use. For example, that is a tag or element, what have you. There's also another one called Sublime Text Editor. These are all free now. It's Sublime Text 3. And there's Notepad++, I think it's called. I've never used it anyway, but like I always used to, like yonks ago, use Microsoft Front Page 2003 or something, and Notepad when I first started anyway. Right, so here we go. So first, you open up Visual Studio Code, yeah? Then you're going to want to click Control and S to save. Oh, hang on. Let me make a new folder. Tutorial. Right, so in this folder you've made, I've called it a tutorial. You can call it whatever you want. You will name this index.html. Now the index is the main first page that shows. It's in the root folder, the website. When they type in your web address, it'll load the index.html. So, right, first we want to start. We need the document type, so it's HTML. So we have to start with this. All HTML tags start with that and end with that, and then usually you'll have an ending tag to block in the code you're going to put between them, which will start with a less than sign and end with a forward slash and then a more than sign. So this is the first thing you have to type, doc type, exclamation mark, doc type HTML. Okay, after that, HTML. See how it's indenting now, because this is the text editor, whereas with Notepad it'd just all be on one line, and you can see there's different colors and everything. I think it's quite a nice touch. So anyway, HTML, and after the HTML tag there's a head tag, and in this head tag you usually have a title, my website. You can put whatever you want. This will show in the tab when you're on Chrome or whatever browser you use. You go on your website, and the tab, it'll have whatever you put inside this title box. So yeah, do what you want in there. Then there's usually some meta information. I won't go really through that now. I won't do the viewport one for mobile sites. Just trying to think. And usually there's also a link tab that gets used, which would link to a style sheet, which I'll talk about later. Is where it's basically the code that styles the web page, all the elements, it targets them, and you can change the colors, size, change what they do, or where they are, rather, positioning. I'm not going to use that for this. I'll put the CSS in there. But anyway, this is just going to be HTML for part 1. I do ramble a bit, so I apologise. I haven't had anything sorted ready. So here we're going to close the head, and then after that we have the body tag. And now the body tag starting will be the whole page, the whole body of the website. So everything that's going to show up on the website is going to go in between the body tag. Notice here the head tag here starts with the less than and more than, and then you to close the title in, you have to do less than / and then the head again, and then that just ends it. There's errors if you don't close it on the page, and things won't show up properly, and it won't be valid HTML. So anyway, now we're in the body. Let me just go and close this. So we'll close the body, and then if you look at the top, what came before, basically we had HTML first, then head, then title was closed, head was closed, and then body was closed. So the next thing left to close is HTML. Now the doc type, there's no close in that. It's just something for the browsers, they need it. That's about as much information on that one I've got for you. I've never studied it or anything, I'm self-taught, so I've not really looked into stuff like that. But anyway, right, what should we do? Now with HTML5 you can do things like this. You have header, I'm going to close it. Let's say you have nav, where you put your navigation, and close it. And then we will do footer, but we don't want it to just be a header, navigation, and then a footer, so we're going to put something in between. So I'm going to do article. Okay, there's other ways of doing this. For example, let me just copy that. You can do header and footer is like most you use now, and all this nav and whatever. But what I used to do was all like div. You can make them all divs, and I do div class equals header, and then you close that with div. A div is basically a blocked element on the page. I'll show you for example now. Let me save that. I'm just going to style it so you can see. Width 500 pixels. Margin 0. Also, don't worry about this, I'll explain it when we get to the CSS part. Height 200 pixels. And there we go. This is just to show you what a div is. So now if I go to Chrome, you'll see so let me go into this. I don't keep it there, do I? I'll go there. Tutorial. Then I'll open our index file. See when you click to open it. Right, there we go. This black element here that you can't highlight or anything, that is a div element. Same with like the header thing I was saying, header, footer, nav. They will all show up something like this, but I've styled this to look black, be 400 pixels wide and 200 pixels high. Now there's a gap at the top all around it, and I'll come into that later with CSS. It's just the body has some padding to it, or margin. so it's not starting right to the edge of the screen. But usually we get rid of that before you start in styling anyway. Right at the top. Okay, so you just delete that and that. So you can mess around with lots of different divs. Now if I save this now, we go back and refresh. See, there's nothing there because I haven't actually styled these. You can't see anything. But if I was to type in here, you will see it at the top because it is the header. And then in the nav, this will be directly underneath the header. They haven't got any sizing because they haven't been styled again, as I keep saying. So they'll probably be right underneath each other, like sentence, and they'll be like the top left of the page. Article. This will be under the nav. And this. Oh, let me just click tab to go there. And this is the final element. Save that. Go on to here. There we go. See, they're all one under the other. Now, what I'll do, we have to style to, we have to use the style sheets to get it all to come together. So, I'll show you this now. Style type equals text. Let me just check. Okay, I just changed the background orange. Basically, don't really use it in the index file. You have a separate file called style.css or whatever you want to call it. The extension is .css. CSS stands for equals cascading style sheet. What this means is a style sheet because you're putting in values, saying how you want different elements on the page to look. For example, I'll type in header in the style now, header, and then you have to do opening curly braces and then ending curly braces for here. See, they will make sure there's no errors. Anyway, this will target the header, and you don't have to remember everything. You can look back to a reference, but more time you do it, you will remember. With CSS, it will get stuck in your head. So say I wanted to the background color, you can type background dash color. Now it's American spelling. If you're not American, if you're British or wherever, I don't know, you have to spell color without the U, unfortunately. But yes, there you go. And then you type the color you want. It used to be hexadecimal values, so you'd use like the hash sign or pound sign, and then you type something like 0000000, or you can just do 3 zeros. That would be black, and then FFFFFF, that would be white. You always have to end here with a semicolon as well. That will close off that, like with the div tags, like that. This is for each line in the styling of an element. So like there's the background color, there's lots of different ones. I go with tomato, or you can do RGB, and then you have to go say 250 250 250. That is white. But what I do is just background. Basically background, you can put lots of different stuff in there. Background image or whatever. If you want a background image, by the way, background dash image, then you have to do colon, you have to type URL, opening brackets, quote mark, single quote mark, followed by the website wherever the image is stored. My image.jpg. Now this isn't a real thing, so nothing will show up. Okay. Anyway, back to it. The header, margin. Now the margin is the outside area of an element. So say I put the margin as, let's just say margin dash top as 20 pixels. This means the outside of this header element will have a gap of 20 pixels size above it. Anything above it will not touch it for 20 pixels. And basically the better way of doing things like this is margin, instead of margin top, these are all the values, okay? There's usually 4 values, so you have x, 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 x. You have to type in pixels, apart from this 0. So it goes clockwise. You start with top, right, bottom, left. Okay, so we put 20 pixels, that's 20 pixels top, 0 on the right, 20 pixels bottom, 0 on the left. Or what you can do is just 20 pixels 0. This means top and bottom is 20 pixels, left and right 0. You don't have to put the pixels px next to it. So we'll do that, but we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is 0, meaning there's no margin, and then auto. This will center our image. Well, our element, it will center it, unless the element is going to be 100% of the width of the page. This will center it. So let's make the width 960 pixels. Let's give it some padding, which means this is like margin, but it's inside, so it'll be the gap before the text. So we'll put 50 pixels. That's quite big, but it's just to show you. If you want to change the color of the text, you just type in color and then whatever color you want for the text. So because it's white, I'm going to put the background of this element as black, so the white stands up in contrast. You can do borders. You can have border, let's say 2 pixels, solid, deep sky blue. Anyway, let me just show you. There we go. That's the first element done. But I'm going to take the border away because it looks horrible. Reduce the pixels to 20 pixels. And there we go. Next we'll target the navigation, or nav. You have to put nav. We'll say width. This is a long way of doing everything. It's kind of repeating yourself a bit. There's a better way to do it with stuff like wrappers, but as I said, it's just very basics, so you can make this site. I'll link all of this into a file in the description as well for you to download, so you can start and fiddle around with it, because you learn much better from doing it yourself, but you can like reference this to get explanations. So the nav, we do the width 960 pixels, height, we won't put the height because we want it to just fit whatever's in there, but we will put padding so it will make it a bit thicker. Margin 0, auto again to center it. If you do want spacing outside as well, after the margin 0 auto, you can do margin top, etc. that's what I'm going to do now. Margin top 5 pixels, so there's a bit of a space. Background black, color white, so you can see. Oh, there we go. Now there you have it. You have the first one, second. Now it's not exactly 960 pixels wide. And at the moment I can't figure out why, other than I don't see why this would have an effect on it though. The asterisk sign is for everything. Just target all elements and apply these to it. So what I'm going to do is box sizing border box. Save that. What this does, when using the values like height and width and everything, without this thing, say I had a width of 1000 pixels and then I put 20 padding on it, there would be 20 padding on the left, 20 padding on the right. So in total, the whole width of the element would be 1040 pixels. But with box sizing, border box, it will keep it to the 1000 pixels that you've stated you want the width to be, but it will put the margin, and padding, it'll include it into that. So the element will actually look smaller, but it's because it's got the padding and everything. Basically the whole width together will still be 1000 pixels, so if you don't want anything going off the screen or anything like that, there will be that. That might be why it's done this, but yeah, that is why. So there we go, now they're both equal width. What I'm going to do as well, text decoration none. Basically when you have hyperlinks or links, whatever, they automatically have like an underline underneath them. I think it looks very ugly. Some sites use it and it looks nice. I can never make it look nice. I don't like it. So I always do text decoration none, so my links just look like a normal word. But I'll change the colour on them. Later on I'll show you that in part 2 or 3, whatever that comes. Then margin 0, padding 0. I'm sure, I think there's something else I usually do, but I can't really think right now because I'm on the spot. Now, see this? Remember the header here? We didn't have any margin outside of the box like we do on the nav. The navigation, if you see at the top here, we've put margin top 5 pixels, so that's a 5 pixel space in between the nav and the header. Now the header had no margin, it only has padding, which is the space inside, from the edge of the inside of the element to the text. Now, as I was saying earlier, if you don't take the margin away in the body, there will be this gap at the top and it will go all around the page. So if you wanted to hit the edges, you just do padding 0, margin 0. Save it, reload, boom. Now everything's at the edge. Now let's target the last two elements. So we want article, so article, and footer, so footer. So again we'll go width 960 pixels, padding, we'll make this one 20, margin 0 auto, margin top 5 pixels, background black, color white. And I'm just going to do the same for the footer as well. Oh, here we go, there they all are lined up. Now that's a lot of stuff that you type in and repeat in. So what I'm going to do, I'll come up to the nav where we first did that, and we put nav, comma, let's do a new line so we can read it easier, article, comma, new line, footer. Now this will do it, the thing to all three, and it all stay the same, but look, now we've got margin top on all three of those. We could have the header the same, only thing is there will be a margin top, but to rectify that there will be a gap at the top now. We don't want a gap on the header, so to rectify that we will target the header again here and put margin top 0, and now it should be gone. There we go. Because basically what the Cascadian style sheet is, it will read from top to bottom. So it'll read asterisk, which is target all, but it'll add these to each item. So every item has no margin and no padding. Then it'll read this, and as it goes down, it'll read the next element. So now if I've put margin or padding on the element, it will add it to that element only. Because it's cascading, it will go down and read from top to bottom. And then, so here we've put the header, margin 0 also, margin top 5 pixels, but then we overwrite that with just the header by putting margin top 0. So now the header hasn't got that. Then we put the height of all of these 300 pixels, but we put the height of the header as, say, 500 pixels. There you go. Usually for an article, because I'm changing different stuff now, we wouldn't really have all of them like that. We just do, say, what are we going to have in common for the nav article and footer? We're going to have, they're all going to be margin top. They're not all going to be black background and white colour. They're probably not all going to be 300 pixels, but we'll leave that there. They're all going to be centered. Let's just for now say they're all going to have padding. They're all going to be 960 pixels width. So we go to the header. We do want that to be black with the white writing. Nav we'll, oh, that means paragraph, by the way. Oh, extra one of them we don't need. The nav will have background as deep sky blue, and the colour can be black. So the article background will be white, and the colour will be black. Tell you what, I'm just going to make the padding for that 120 pixels. The article is where you have like the main content. That's what I would anyway. And the footer, I have the background as black again, colour white. There we go. What I'm going to do now is width 100%. That's what I usually put on everything. Max dash width 100%. So the maximum width has to be 100%. When you scale the page down, it'll scale with it. It's only used usually. Well, you use it all the time. But when you want responsive design, where like if the screen width goes under a certain amount, it changes to different sizes and looks different for a mobile view, stuff like that. Max width. Now I'm going to make the header width 100% as well. You can put elements inside elements as well. When you've got these main things, you'll probably want to start putting divs inside them. Divs, you can have paragraphs, which is P, block quotes, for like if you're quoting something really used. BR means new line, because you can't just click enter and show a new line. It has, because it's HTML, it needs to have the BR in it. This will be PR, this is a new line. See, this is next to it, not on a new line, this is a new line. There you go. Footer and header, and now the full width of the page. Let's change the height. Next I'll show you headings. So there's H1 to 6. So that's basic, very basic of a website starting there, so you could mess around with that. And coming back for part 2. So I've just done this on the fly. I'll make like an image chart with the different elements and explaining more, because I know I'm not great at explaining with my voice. Things might get confusing, but you can see, and I'll put a link in the description of this index HTML file we've made, so you can like change the colors, all things like that. And that's it. That's me for today. Thanks for watching. Over and out. Ta-ra.